Hello, this is the first episode in my series about what we can learn, the lessons we can learn from A.S. Neill's first book, The Dominie's Log. This book was published in 1915 and is about his life as a teacher, as a head teacher at Gretna Green School. He moved to London and had accepted a post as a journalist on a newspaper, but because of the war the post disappeared and he had to return to Scotland in order to find a job, and he found a job working as a head teacher. The previous head had gone off to the war to fight, or signed up, and he took over the responsibility of being head teacher at Gretna Green Elementary School, or village school. And this is the story of his life as head teacher in his first year at the school. And it introduces us to how A.S. Neill developed his thinking in terms of education and learning and teaching. So how does he start? He starts off with the reason why he's writing this book. It's called The Dominie's Log, and it was published soon after, in fact, he had started working there. It was the same year that he finished, 1914 to 15 he was working there, his first year, just at the start of the war, and this was published at the end of 1915. He starts in the book by justifying why he's writing it. He says, "No reflections or opinions of a general character are to be entered in the logbook. Thus states the Scotch Code." So teachers are not meant to enter into the official school logbook any opinions or any discussions or any ideas about learning and education. And he says, "I've resolved to keep a private log of my own. In the regulation volume I shall write down all the futile, never to be seen piffle about Mary Brown's being laid up with the measles, and my anxiety lest it should spread. In my private log I shall write down my thoughts on education. I think they will be mostly original. There has been no real authority on education, and I do not know of any book from which I can crib." So he writes. And it's interesting that the reviews of the book were very, very positive in terms of newspapers, but those reviews in the progressive journals were quite critical of the fact that he doesn't accept any precursors, that he's not saying that I will learn from Pestalozzi or from Froebel or from any of the earlier educationalists. Now, I think that's quite good. I think what he's expressing is what it's like to be a teacher running a school, that you are cut off from the pedagogy, from the universities who are studying education. And there's a lovely quote from the first conference in 1914, the New Ideals in Education conference in 1914 at East Runton, where we have a teacher who says, "I feel like a sailor adrift who has suddenly found the shore." And celebrating the fact that he was now a teacher who had found his community, those teachers who agreed with his ideas about liberating education. Now, the person who said that was not A.S. Neill. It was a teacher who developed democratic education in his classroom, and who even wrote a book called The Pathway to Freedom. And I can't remember his name. I will remember his name. Norman McMahon was his name. And his book was The Pathway to Freedom. And in 1914 he celebrates the fact that he has at last reached land, and that he had felt so isolated and alone through his method of teaching children through liberty and freedom and participation. So this is how Neill starts the book. He's starting it by questioning the very authority of the establishment and the institution of the school log. And he's, in a sense, he's saying that where is there an avenue, a way of sharing and developing my ideas as a teacher of practice and of developing new methods and sharing and celebrating if those new methods work. How do I do it? Yeah, I can't do it in my log, and there's no other official document there. So he's going to do it in this book, and as we'll find out, there are over 100 lessons we can learn from this book. Thank you very much indeed.